Hi, I am 6 at Black Woman Being. I am a sex astrologer. Today I'm going to be talking about the second house. To think about value as a Black person during Black History Month has been complicated because personally, one of my self-esteem issues is assuming that I have to provide value to every single interaction I have with people. That if I'm not providing value, that if it's not physical value or emotional value or mental value or spiritual value or material value, if I'm not bringing those things to the table, it can feel a lot like I'm not actually doing enough. I'm really careful when it comes to qualifying a person based off of their worth. A part of thinking through the second house in astrology has been grappling with the reality that, one, there is a value in the society that we live in that a person is probably going to have to provide if they want to be successful at dating or relationships or work. Like, there is something that you kind of have to do to show dedication, devotion, and that you are someone that a person can believe in. Even I think showing community is a non-material way of showing devotion and commitment. In the process of thinking through the second house, the first thing that came to mind is, what are your values? And obviously, like, I was asking that question to myself, but what are my values? And then I realized, especially as I think women, babies, non-binary people, it is very easy for us to have a lot of values, especially because I think that a lot of us are conditioned to be very caring people. So we may have like a lot of values. The sign that your house falls into definitely plays a big part. For example, my second house falls into the sign Sagittarius, which is ruled by the planet of expansion and abundance, Jupiter, which means I spend a lot of time just growing and learning and constantly expanding my values. It doesn't actually really stop. Of course, I have like these major values that kind of stand out a little bit more, but I would say that a lot of my early 20s was really buckling down on what my values are, et cetera, et cetera. And this is why I actually think the Saturn return is pretty important. And it's pretty cool that people are starting to think about it, because really, I feel like ages 0 to 25 is a science experiment of adulthood. And then eventually, through experiences, you get to kind of realize, wow, I can do this. And actually, I'm good at this particular thing. This is what I add as value. For example, I recognize that one of my top values, and I write about this in my Vibely, is family and friends. It is a high value to me to be a good friend to my friends, because to me, showing loyalty to people, showing loyalty to my family, showing loyalty to my friends means that I can be a trustworthy person. That is what family and friends means to me, that I can be loyal, that I can be trustworthy, that I can be loving. And I think that when I actively work to be a good friend and a good family member, that I'm able to do that. Of course, unfortunately, it's really hard to do that because sometimes I have different relationships with each and every single family member, but for the most part, I try to do what I can. When engaging in coitus, and if you didn't know, coitus is sexual intercourse. In case you didn't know, now you do. Having values is important. It doesn't matter if you're having sex with someone that you've been in a marriage with for years, or if you're hooking up with a one-night stand. You should probably have values, and you can kind of tell what somebody else's values and if they actually value human life. When interacting with people, you're probably going to take some time before you can discern what their values are. So like I said, if values and having sex with people that you actually have good vibes with is important to you, you might want to take your time. If you're just trying to have sex, I would be cautious, because having sex with people who do not respect you and actually are harmful to you is really dangerous. And I don't care how sex positive we want to be and how, yes, reclaim your body, we want to be. I don't think that it's feminist to be having sex with people who really are negative and talk down on you. And we're actually going to get to this in the 10th house, which is going to be really far away from now, but it's important. It's important to have sex with people who respect us and who actually are kind of on the same page. At least you may not think exactly like another person, but you can have sex with someone or have a relationship with someone, get married to someone who may not agree with everything that you think, may not have the same exact values on the same exact like level of intensity, but what you can have is a dynamic with someone where both of you feel seen, heard, understood, or at least you feel that both or all of the people you're in a relationship with work really hard to show that they care in a healthy and genuine way. As you all know, as astrology enthusiasts, there are 12 zodiac signs, which means that there are 12 different possibilities for your second house to fall into. If you would like some more information about the sign that your second house falls into, look in the description below and join my Vibely, to which you will be able to read all about that, as well as content that pertains to the first house. And if you stay subscribed, you will be able to see all of the houses. It's basically a lot like a subscription kind of membership. It's basically exactly that, except it's even better because there's a community and a workshop, and we get to have one-on-one conversations if you have any astrology questions. I recently did a little questionnaire on my Instagram. The questionnaire was essentially asking people, hey, how do you feel about online dating? A lot of the gals are not feeling it. And by the way, I say gals gender neutrally. The gals were not a fan. The gals were not a fan. The gals looked at that whole online dating thing and were essentially like, I'm not being engaged. Probably the people on there are not interesting. They're kind of boring. It's more of like window shopping than anything. And from my personal experience, unfortunately, I don't think that people who go on dating apps are always looking for a relationship. And if they are, it happens very naturally and not necessarily like they were looking for it. They just kind of end up colliding together. If you have met your marital partner on a dating app, please comment below and tell me if that's right or not. In my experiences, it feels as though dating apps are what people use to validate themselves. And people will say, oh, you know, it's what I do when I'm bored and I'm passing time. Sure. And there are also books. There are a lot of things that one could do to pass time. It does not have to be dating apps. So when people are on dating apps, sometimes it does feel like a way that they are showing that they want to be validated, or they enjoy the validation, or they just want to hook up for the sake of hooking up. And all of those things are fine. Some people want something to do and they like the company of another person. Even though dating apps can be a little difficult, that doesn't mean that they don't still work. They do have their success stories. That being said, I'm a genuine believer of first focusing on ourselves before we seek out someone else. Seeking out for someone else could mean looking for, like I said, that one time hookup kind of partner, friends with benefits, or a romantic relationship. Just having a base understanding of self can make a difference, which is why I really do recommend you all check out my Vibely, which we will be getting into the holistic self with astrology first going into the first house, then the second house. Now we're just about on the third house, and it is a really fun way to build community, get to know people, learn more about astrology, and also ensure that you start having the most satisfying sexual experiences of your life. If you would like to learn about what the second house means for you, please join my Vibely. If you would like some more astrology content, feel free to follow my Instagram, my TikTok. Please definitely follow my YouTube, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye, farewell to you, my friends. I got to go, so toodaloo.